It's been a while since I made a video here. The first of the month. This is the 21st, I think. Usually I don't go that long. I've been tied up with some things. Been busy working. So I've been slacking as far as the videos go. A psychic slacker. Anyway, I'm back. I wanted to talk about, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about symbolism. The reason I'm talking about this is one of the things I've really been involved with is, I've been involved with creating my own Tarot Marseille deck. And so that's been taking up a lot of my time. I've been working on it for a long time, but over the whole year probably. And this is some of the artwork that I've been working with, or doing, to create these images. And it's going to be my version of the deck. And it's coming along real good. I don't know if I'll ever sell it. I want to use it. The reason I'm making my own is my next book is going to be using the Marseille. Because that's the deck I read with. I teach with the Rider deck, but I use the Marseille for the most part. I use a lot of different decks, but that's the one I favor the most, is the Marseille. And so I wanted to do a book where I'm using the Marseille deck. And I thought, well, you know what, it's such a crude art that you can create your own. It'd be like creating your own playing card deck. You know, you can do that. And it would be exactly the same, but different. And that's what it really comes down to. So anyway, looking into that, I really started to look, you know, as you're creating something like a tarot deck, you're starting to wonder what other artists have thought while they're creating the cards. And the symbolism that we look at today, we really pick apart the symbolism on these decks. And I disagreed with that. I thought, well, it's not really that important. If it was that important, then only one deck would be the best deck to use, because the symbolism would be the most correct symbolism to use. But if I use the Marseille deck, or if I use the Rider deck, fly right out of my hands. I use the Rider deck, Sacred Rose, Thoth, any other deck. The symbolism is different on all of them. But I know readers who use these different decks, and they read just fine. So their readings, nobody's readings are better than another, and so they work just fine. And if you look back at the first, here's a picture of public domain picture of the Tarot Marseille. And if you look back at these pictures, these images, there wasn't much detail there for symbolism. So how important is it? I mean, you create your own symbolism, I think. You create what you get out of it as far as symbolism. Whether it's a tarot card or some other thing. You could do readings with a bunch of postcards. You could do readings with this, postcards. What symbolism do you see in these cards? You know, it's up to you. You can get symbolism out of anything. I can get this chair I'm sitting in. Well, how can you be symbolic about that as far as a message? Well, a chair is a place to sit, to stop. Maybe it's the advice there would be stop taking action. It's a time to regroup. Go over your thoughts. Think before you act. Or time to rest is another symbol you can use with chair. Or you can look at a chair as a throne. You say, well, it's time to, if you have low self-esteem, think well of yourself, think more highly of yourself. You are important. You do make a difference. You do matter. Think of yourself as a royalty. So there's a lot of, you can grab symbolism from anything. And I've seen readers who maybe start with one deck, and they're using the symbolism out of that deck, and then they go to another deck and they're seeing each card differently. So they're seeing different symbolism. And then they start to see the range of things you can see in a card. Picture's worth 1,000 words. You can't put them all in a card. That Tarot Marseille, there's no detail in those cards from that public domain, the 1700s. But yet, readings were very good, obviously, because it's something that started, it looks like, started in the 1700s with the Marseille. And it looks like, obviously, it took off, it worked, because it wouldn't be here today if it didn't. So that's what people used. Symbolism has a lot, can be seen in a lot of things. Can be seen in anything. How do you symbolize? What symbolic meaning can you get out of this or out of that? And any deck of tarot cards will be rich with symbolism. And I think we spend too much time focusing on thinking that knowing the symbolism of a specific deck is important. And we try to memorize what this is about. It's fun to read about. I read about it. I like to read about it. But I don't really think of it as something I need to know to do a reading. And that's my thoughts on it. It's just something I like to read about. You take the Hangman here. There's the Marseille. By the way, that card next to it is my version of that's my deck, the Hangman. And you take a look at the Rider-Waite Hangman, and they say that that glow around his head is because of awareness. Well, there's no glow on that picture on the Marseille deck. But yet that was a successful deck. It still is. So is it important to really know that? I think it doesn't hurt, and it might help you in some reading that you're doing to have that in your pocket while you're doing a reading. To think that the Hangman can mean awareness. Sure, it can mean a lot of things though. But to think that that's all it means is no. I don't think that's a good thing to have. Images are powerful. They really spark intuition. And that's why I think you could use any deck of tarot cards will spark intuition. It'll spark imagination. You'll see symbolism in all of them. Interesting story I had in the around 1990. I drew this picture. Now this is a what you're seeing here is a cave art drawing somewhere in France about 10,000 years ago. I think it's called the Sorcerer, is what we call it today. And it's this dancing elk who's actually walking like a human, and he's looking right at you. And that was drawn in the depths of some cave somewhere 10,000 years ago. And I think it has a lot of power. So I painted that picture on a 28-inch canvas, acrylic, and I was listening to Chris Junkie music. Drums of Light was the name of the tape. and it's all primitive instruments, rattles and drums type of music. And as I'm painting that picture, I'm listening to this music, and I'm thinking, these lines that I'm creating here on this canvas are the same exact lines that somebody did in a cave 10,000 years ago. What was going through their mind when they drew the side of this person's face, or the antler, or the spine? And I'm just trying to get in this, visualize this person. And it really became a powerful thing. So anyway, the reason I bring this up is because when I was done with the painting, I put it in my bedroom, and I just put it against the wall, and I'm sitting in my bed, laying there, and I'm looking at it, and I'm listening to that music, that Chris Jonke primitive music, and I'm looking at the picture. And after a while, that image started dancing right in front of me, just looking right at me, dancing. I won't forget that. Because that was an entertainment. I thought, oh my gosh. So images can really spark a lot of intuition. And they just tap into that side of the mind. And I thought that was a good example. Now that's not a tarot card, but it's an image. And just like these tarot cards are images. And they can spark imagination and intuition as well, no matter what deck it is. So whatever deck you like is fine. And if you change it down the road to another deck, that's fine too. Or if you use a variety of decks, as long as you're getting ideas from those images, you're reading those cards just fine. Linda, my wife, she uses regular playing cards. Now there's no symbolism in them. What are you guys get on a 10 of diamonds? What are you going to see there? Jack of clubs. That's what she uses. And there are books on how to read with playing cards. So if the symbolism is so important, to this, we hooked up in '93, been reading professionally ever since. I don't think there's ever been any event I've ever done with her that I did more readings than her. She always does more readings than me. She's very popular, always way up there. People want to see what she's about. And really, she doesn't even use cards anymore unless you ask, could you throw some cards down? She's just a psychic reader. And but when we were first starting out, she was reading with the cards. And those are the cards she used. And she got ideas just as many as I did with tarot cards. So is the symbolism really important? I could say, from what I've seen, no. It's how you let a card's meaning to you, whatever meaning you assign to that card. It's how you let it symbolize something that's going to be a useful idea for the person you're reading. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up, and enjoy whatever decks you use. And again, I think application is more important than memorizing definitions or studying the cards under a microscope. Just look into what they're capable of doing for you as far as an application. And whatever deck you're using, I'm sure is fine, as long as you like it. So sharing my thoughts. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk soon.